Next, SportsCenter brings you all the leftovers. The Cornhuskers are still in the holiday spirit. They're giving it all away. A turkey tradition took place in Blacksburg, and it's no hulking matter. Bobby brings his plate out to the garden for a nice quiet meal, while Big Daddy isn't happy with the size of the portions in New York. For your non-traditional meals, there's been a whale sighting in Miami. On a smaller scale, the Ducks try to hack it on the pond. Shaq and the Lakers bring their stuffing to the Motor City. Down south, MJ and Scotty look to feast on the Mavs. And in Beantown, the Dream leaves Dino looking for a bone. Look, turkey tends to do that to you, so clear out the cobwebs, feel the flavor any way you can, and join the freak show? Join SportsCenter next.
Kind of the same difference, isn't it? Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us on SportsCenter, along with my long-lost pal, Larry Biel. I'm Brett Haber.
It has been a while. Ahead on the show, a dream team matchup, Shaq versus Grant. What does it take to get Bob Knight to apologize, and why would Cecil want to leave the Yanks? But we start with football.
Yeah, and the sad truth about losing, even if it is only once in a season. The margin of error nowadays in college football, approximately the same as that of a mountain climber on a sheer cliff. One wrong step, and it is an awfully long way down. Nebraska made its wrong step back in September with that fateful loss to Arizona State. And despite 9 straight wins since, and what could be the best defensive unit in all of college football, they are only marginally now part of the national title scenario. Trying to keep those hopes alive Friday against Colorado, 4-5. First drive of the game, Coy Detmer looking for and finding Derek Anderson. 13-yard connection sets up a field goal, 3-0 Buffs. Nebraska's first possession, Amon Green hit from behind. He loses the luggage. Ryan Black recovers for Colorado. Same possession, it would be Herschel Troutman punishing the defense with the run, tackling on offense, 10 yards, bringing defenders with him, sets up another field goal, 6-0. Buffalo's next possession, Detmer's pass deflected and picked. It's Jay Foreman, 21 yards the other way. Now the Huskers lead 7-6. Second quarter, D'Angelo Evans is in for Green, who hurt his foot. I'd say that's a good substitution. 40 yards on the gain, setting up this. Evans again on the delay, good for 7 yards and a score. 17-6 Nebraska. Now in the fourth, Detmer for James Kidd. Look at this spin move after the catch. He's a dreidel. The defender's got vertigo. 52 yards on that play, and 3 plays after that, Detmer to Phil Savoy. Look at this catch. Behind the defender, and somehow he reels that in. I want another look. Takes it away from Michael Booker, sets up a field goal. Colorado down 5. Nebraska gets the ball. Scott Frost leveled on the blind side. He loses the ball. Colorado gets it. They've got one chance, down 5. Detmer, the pass is tipped and picked by Jamel Williams, but they would get it back and get one last chance. They've got 4th and 11. He needs to pass. He's blitzed, has to let it fly under pressure. It falls harmlessly incomplete, and while his brother's having a little success in the NFL now, little brother is not having his. Nebraska winning it by 5. They run their home streak to 36 games. The freshman D'Angelo Evans, 123 yards on the ground. Coy Detmer, only 12 of 38. The Huskers win their 14th straight in the month of November. That is clutch late-season play as they advance to the Big 12 title game.
I think we did a good job of getting a good push on Detmer. You know, if we didn't sack him, we at least didn't have an unobstructed view of the field very long.
Play with the heart we did in the second half and not come away with touchdowns, and you know, to come out of this game losing, it almost felt like we had it right in our hands and let it slip away.
24 Nebraska seniors played their final home game on Friday, and I'd say it has been a fruitful 4 years. They did not lose a home game during those 4 years. They did not lose a conference game during that time. They won by an average of over 28 points per game and only played 7 contests where the opponents got within 10. That's good. In the state of Texas, the Aggies against the Longhorns. Bevo, handsome as ever. And watch Mike Adams on this. 31 yards and outstretched as you can be would set up a field goal. James Brown getting it done. He feels good. 53-yard touchdown reception by Wayne McGarity, 17-9 Horns. It would be 30-9 Horns, and more from that man Adams. 36 yards on this catch in the back of the end zone, 37-9 Texas, and more from Adams. Over the shoulder, bounces once off of both shoulder pads. He reels it in. He had 6 catches in the game, 153 yards, and then, just for good measure, they did it on the ground as well. Ricky Williams up the middle and off to the races, 55 of his 145 yards in the game. And Texas triumphant with ease by 36 points, so they will play Nebraska in the Big 12 title game. The Longhorns finishing the regular season with 4 straight wins. James Brown throwing for 4 touchdowns as the Aggies complete their first non-winning season since 1983. Of course, the biggest game of the weekend and perhaps of the year taking place on Saturday. Number 1, Florida. Number 2, Florida State. We will have a full preview plus the possible bowl ramifications a little bit later in our program. Larry.
Now to hoops. The Detroit Pistons have to be considered a surprise early this NBA season. They lost free agent Allen Houston to the Knicks. Then they were rebuffed by another free agent, Dikembe Mutombo. But with Grant Hill averaging 21 points per game and Joe Dumars, the ageless wonder, leading the league in threes, Detroit is 11-2. Now the surprise in L.A. is that the Lakers aren't better than just 10-6. Shaq and friends coming off a 16-point loss to lowly Boston. The Pistons hosting the Lakers. How do you stop Shaq? Try the double team, but he passes out of it. Eldon Campbell with reverse jam. He had 14 points and 12 boards. Joe Dumars still with that silky, smooth game. The poised veteran stops, pops. He had 16 points. Second quarter. Van Exel finds the big man for the hammer. Lakers led 43-35 at the half, and Doug Collins says, you know, we need more big people to stop him. Eddie Jones, whatever happened to the dribble? It's called traveling, but not in this league. He gets away with it. Fourth quarter. Pistons don't have anybody to deal with Shaq inside, and he's showing some versatility in his offensive game. Shaq inspired because you read in the newspaper about how the Pistons plan to stop him. You don't stop that. Nobody's stopping that. Shaq said the only guys who could stop him were the 3 refs, and they weren't calling anything on Shaq because he was showing some nice moves around the basket. 84-76 Lakers. More good news for Shaq. You know, Kazam is now out on video. Eddie Jones with 20 points. Pistons shooting blanks in this game, only 34% from the floor. Grant Hill had 20 for Detroit. Joe Dumars chipped in with 16, but it just was not enough. Shaq gets most of the attention, but Eddie Jones has upped his production considerably from about 13 to 19 points per game. 3-point shooting up to almost 45%, and Jones is second in the league in steals at 2.6 per game. The Suns coming off their 1 win in a row against Seattle. KJ is back. Sean Kemp, nice backflip feed to Jim McIlvain for the one-hand jam. Sonics up early. Second quarter, here come the Suns. Robert Horry to Danny Manning. Nice little spin move in the lane. Suns would take a 30-27 lead. Gary Payton with the other All-Star. Oop me, Sean Kemp. Sonics by 2 at the half. That's what Brett and I do during commercials.
Speak for yourself.
Now in the third, KJ, the bank is open. He had 13 points, 10 assists. Sonics, their lead trimmed to 5. Payton, the fadeaway. Off glass. That's a tough shot. And here is Payton to Hersey Hawkins, who hits the triple. Danny Ainge wondering, is this ever going to get any better? Not in this game. 105-92. Sonics would pull away in the fourth quarter. Payton scored 10 of his 26 in the final period. Sean Kemp had a total of 25. Phoenix actually out-rebounded the Sonics 46-40, but the Suns still fall on the road for the 12th straight time dating back to last season. Brett?
Ask any member of the Jazz what they thought about getting booed off the court at halftime on Wednesday night, and they would probably all say that they deserved it in a big way. The Jazz trailed a 4th-place Nuggets team by 36 points at the break, and giving every indication that they were about to take an unscheduled vacation. But after Jerry Sloan delivered the old fire and brimstone at halftime, the Jazz came back to win the game by 4 and complete what is thought to be the greatest comeback in NBA history. Looking for some less dramatics Friday against the Clippers. How about John Stockton? Like a fine wine, overpriced and pretentious. No, he gets better with age. I'm just kidding. The dish to Hornacek. And how about his shooting? We know he can pass. On the break, he pulls up and shoots the 3. It's good. And then Stockton driving. One-on-one, Derek Martin, and past Malik Sealy and his neckties. Jazz lead it by 3. Malik sells neckties, you see. The shot of the night. Oh, skip to my poo. It's a memoriam. But wait a minute. After further review, Pooh released the ball after the clock expired. Young players, keep your eye on the clock. That's just a retrospective, isn't it? Third quarter, Stockton's back, pulls up for the 3. Jazz by 6, and then Stockton to Malone. I think I've heard that before, but back to Stockton on the give and go. Jazz up 15. Then final seconds of the third. Stockton again from deep. 12 of 13 from the floor. Doesn't get much better than that. Oh, I suppose 13 of 13 would be better than that. Jazz by 17. Stockton 28 points, 10 assists as Utah wins it. Their 9th straight game. Malone and Hornacek each with 19. And by the way, Larry, I never balanced on your head at any time during the program. All 5 Utah starters scoring in double figures. The aforementioned fourth-place Nuggets hosting the T-Wolves first quarter. Stephon Marbury learns the meaning of the word pick from Irvin Johnson. He sat out but came back, like right there, as he penetrates and dishes to Cherokee. 11 assists for Marbury. T-Wolves lead by 1. Brooks Thompson goes one-on-one on Stephon, pulls up for the 3 off the pick. Nuggets by 2, 3 minutes to go. Nuggets by 1, 2 minutes to go. Marbury doing the return favor on Thompson, the one-hander in the lane. He had 30 in the game, but on the Nuggets' next possession, Stan Mitchell goes into the lane, gets stuffed by Bryant Stitt. Minnesota gets the ball. Mitchell takes it baseline, gets the hoop, gets the foul, and they get the win. T-Wolves 108-103. Mitchell scoring 6 points in the final 90 seconds to help seal the situation. Minnesota snapping a 6-game road losing streak. T-Wolves winning in Denver for the first time since March of '92. The Nuggets still have just one win under Dick Motta, but of course he's only coached 3 games. Still more NBA on the SportsCenter menu. Michael Jordan got a hangnail. We will have live team coverage a little bit later in our program.
Not really. Indiana coach Bob Knight doesn't apologize for much, but he did Wednesday night after a Hoosier victory. Just after Indiana edged Evansville 74-73 on a last-second shot, Knight said, and we quote, "I don't think we should have won. There was no justice. In my record book, we got beat. We have to take it as a win," end quote. Friday night, Indiana met Duke with the Blue Devils intent on beating them for real. Before we get to the championship game of the preseason NIT, a flashback. Knight coached Mike Krzyzewski at West Point. That was years ago. Fast forward to the present. Both men on the bench. First half, Duke leading. Jeff Capel stops and then feeds Taman Domzaliski for the jam. Duke up 37-31 at the half. The second half was all Andre Patterson. Tied at 45. It's Patterson open for the 3. On their next possession, well, it's a steal by Patterson as he takes it away from Carmen Wallace. Andre Patterson, he's a bad man. 50-45 Indiana. Indiana taking control. Watch the pick. Harris, Muzjainovich setting the pick. And Patterson rolls off it to hit the smooth jumper. 54-49 Indiana. Here comes Duke, though. Trajan Langdon and the Blue Devils down by 2. But Indiana, too tough. Patterson, they got 3 guys on him. Can't stop Andre Patterson. He had 39. 85-69. The Hoosiers win the preseason NIT. Andre Patterson hit the game winner at the buzzer in the semifinals. We mentioned career-high 39 points. Blue Devils only 6 of 25 from three-point range. They missed 18 free throws. After the game, Bob Knight chatted with our own Dick Vitale. Knight reflecting on defeating 2 of his protégés over the past 2 games.
My problem is that I don't want to lose. I mean, I don't want to lose to you. I don't want to lose to my wife. But when we lose, and I can at least feel good for Jimmy or for Mike. When we win, I feel really good for our kids, but I don't like it. I don't like to beat guys that I really like.
Davidson facing a tall order up against Wake Forest and Tim Duncan. Oh, spin move, Shaq. Get ready for that next year. 7-footers doing 360s. Are you kidding me? Inside, it's freshman Lauren Woods, the hoop and the foul. He had 15 for Wake, and Duncan, nobody's stopping that. At least nobody for Davidson stopping it. 69-45, Tim Duncan scored 13 of his 20 points in the second half. Duncan also grabbed 13 boards. He had 3 blocked shots. With Duncan dominating the inside, Davidson was forced to play more of a perimeter game. Didn't work. They shot only 30% from the floor. Brett?
Well, if the word mercenary comes to mind, please feel free to use it. Charlie Hayes and Cecil Fielder joined the Yankees mid-season in '96 to help with the postseason push. Both got their 6-figure World Series checks this week, and Friday they both promptly, oddly enough, asked to be traded. Both players exercising clauses in their contracts whereby if the Yankees don't complete a trade by March 15th, Fielder and Hayes can become free agents. Cecil doesn't like the idea of platooning with Tino Martinez, and Hayes, likewise, doesn't like the idea of platooning with Wade Boggs and wants a contract extension to guard against the lower numbers that come from sharing time. Hayes joined the Yankees less than 3 months ago. Still much more ahead on this SportsCenter, including the man to whom Tom Watson, John Daly, and Fred Couples all are taking a back seat this weekend. We will preview Tiger Woods and his Skins game debut when this SportsCenter rolls along. Also ahead on the program, the night on ice, including the first-place Panthers and the first-place Whale. The Beezer continues impersonating a brick wall. Chris Berman stops by for the drill. He looks at Henry Ellard's ever-growing resume. Plus, Akeem feeling all better and taking it out on the Celtics. That and much more when Larry and I mosey back.
Go for the gold. The new Rebel G. Get the ultimate rush.
Oh, how cute. Oh, let's get it for Mom.
No.
She always said she wanted one. Yeah, she could take it anywhere. They're very good protection.
Maybe.
This holiday season, get Mom a gift she'll adore. A cellular phone from Radio Shack. We'll answer all your questions and sign you up right on the spot. Activation's no problem either.
Look, Dad, it likes you.
Radio Shack. You've got questions. We've got answers.
Now get $50 of free airtime with your new cellular phone from Radio Shack.
Emmett Smith of Dallas.
Don Cornelius, I come to ask you a favor. It's time for me to make a movie.
What kind?
The kind where I take on the bad guys and bust some heads.
Oh, a documentary?
Yeah, the image zone.
Whatever. Take the oath.
This is my planet. Yeah.
That's one bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
I'm just talking about Emmett. We like Neil Smith mean, so we get his mother-in-law to call him collect before each game without using 1-800-COLLECT. Could have saved you some serious cash, Neil. 1-800-COLLECT. Save the people you call up to 44%.
This seems like a good time to introduce the new, more responsive Volvo 850 GL2. Drive safely.
To be honest, the visual of Luke Longley, 7'2", 300 pounds, body surfing in a Speedo is enough to keep me out of the water for quite some time. But my personal phobias aside, the Bulls center should not have been there, not only because it's unattractive, but because he's not good at body surfing either. Longley separated his shoulder while catching a wave off the coast. And not that the Bulls are in trouble without him or anything like that, but he could be gone for 2 months, and that's never good. Chicago minus Luke, taking on former assistant Jim Clemens and the Mavs. And there's the guy, the movie star, who happens to smell nice, too, with that new cologne, his trademark fadeaway. Then Scotty with Michael's trademark fadeaway. As the Mavs try to come back, Jason Kidd on the break. Why would they possibly try to come back? Nice behind the back to Chris Gatling and his headband. Gatling had 35 in the game, but the Bulls defense a little too tough. Jordan to steal ahead of the play to Pippen. Bulls lead at 61-42 at the half, and then more from Michael and Scotty. Jordan drives to the hoop, dishes underneath to Scotty. It's the way it normally goes when you play Chicago, even in your home building. Bulls win it by 19. Jordan and Pippen combined for 68. Scotty hitting on 14 of 22 from the floor. Chicago has won 16 of its last 17 against the Mavs. Rockets and Celtics in Boston. Early first quarter, nobody has the variety of low post moves like Akeem. We've seen that before, actually making Dino look slower than he is. Part of a 27-7 Rockets run. Second quarter, Tracy Moore down past 4 stationary Celtics defenders. Rockets up 23, and then in the fourth, Charles, wide drive to the hole when he can shoot the fadeaway three-pointer. Whatever, it deserves a laugh. Rockets win it by 26. It was just the way we drew it up on the board, said Clyde Drexler. Glide with 15 points, 5 assists. Barkley adding 18 points, 9 boards. The Rockets remaining perfect on the road at 7-0. So the Rockets and Bulls both win Friday as they continue to share the league's best record. Captain Math informing us that they are both scoring right around 104 points per game. Both teams have exactly 687 rebounds. The Bulls have been crushing the opposition more convincingly, but they don't count crushes. They only count wins.
To the ice. Thanksgiving came and went, and Paul Coffey is not thankful that he's still in Hartford. The Whalers defenseman wants to be traded, and there was talk of a deal that would send Mr. Coffey to Philadelphia, but that apparently has fallen apart. Coffey wants to play for a contender, which is great considering his Whalers are currently tied for first place. Whalers visiting Florida and the Panthers. There is Coffey. No score in the first period as Florida, look at this precision passing attack as they work the puck effortlessly up ice. Only one way to describe it, resourceful. Radek Dvorak in front on the deflection to Bill Lindsay, 1-0 Florida. And then Sean Burke gets serious. Jason Podolin with a shot, denied. Chris Wells on the follow. Oh, look at the stick save by Sean Burke. Then Keith Primo breaking in, his tripped by Robert Svela, and he still shoots and scores on John Van Beesbrook. We're tied at 1. Time running down. Nelson Emerson slapped me, and a glove saved by the Beezer. And the final is 1-1. John Van Beesbrook and Sean Burke both made 29 saves in this one. The Beezer has allowed only 6 goals in his last 4 games. The Whalers winless in their last 4. 2 losses and 2 ties. But Coach Paul Maurice called it a good tie. Stars against the ailing Lightning. Darian Hatcher crushes John Cullen. That can't be good for you. Minutes later, Stars strike. Daryl Sador shoots. Jamie Langenbrunner tips in the rebound. Sergei Zubov, and it trickles past Rick Tabarachi. Stars up 2-0. Then Artur Zerbe lacing up for action. He's been out of action for a while. He smothers the shot by Alexander Selavanov. And then Hatcher, look at this shot. Boom! On Chris Groton. And Phil Esposito says, yeah, that grandkids hit me harder than that. Stars win 2-1. Artur Zerbe, Archie, made 29 saves. It's his first victory in 6 weeks as Herbe's been suffering from the dreaded groin injury. He's been out. The Lightning, who got off only 5 shots in the third period, have now lost 4 in a row. Herbe's former team, the Sharks, they are ailing 4-2 losers to the Oilers. Edmonton winning their 3rd straight road game. They've outscored their opposition 18-3 during this stretch. Ryan Smith with his first goal in almost 2 weeks for the Oilers. Cujo, 25 saves. Joseph now 16-1 lifetime against San Jose. White Sports Center continues. Kentucky heads to the 49th state to find a game. Will the Cats end up in the deep freeze? Plus, more on 1 against 2. The Seminoles out for revenge. And we've got a preview. Plus, Andre Reed makes a cameo appearance in the 2-minute drill, hanging with the greatest of all time.
With all the locations their off-highway capabilities could take them, you'd think there'd be little chance of ever seeing a Jeep vehicle in the same place more than once. Not true. Introducing the all-new award-winning Jeep Wrangler, the latest 4x4 of the year, from the brand that's won this major award more than anyone else.
See the 4x4 of the year at your Jeep and Eagle dealer.
My parents do a lot of traveling. I'd like to get them a cell phone.
Go to Car Toys for a free cell phone with free activation, $100 free accessories, 1 month free access, plus $50 cash back.
Car Toys, a better way to go.
Fred Couples, and the new kid in town. The Skins game begins Saturday at 3:30 on ABC.
Here's Bledsoe. Incomplete. Oh, ouch. Holy cow. Bledsoe. Nothing but bullets.
It's New England at San Diego on ESPN Sunday Night NFL.
They're both 10-0. They both have dreams of winning the national championship. Somebody's dream, though, will end Saturday in Tallahassee as Florida State's top-ranked defense tries to shut down the Gators' souped-up offense. It's not only the Battle of Florida, but it's 1 versus 2, and Steve Cyphers has our preview.
The week began with a question mark taped on Florida State quarterback Thad Busby's knee. A mild sprain left his starting status in doubt.
I'm going to try to go through everything, because this is a huge game. So, I plan on playing and practicing and not sitting out 1 snap.
Busby is scheduled to start on Saturday. Florida quarterback Danny Werfel has a bruised offensive line. Injuries leave the Gators starting 2 redshirt freshmen at a position where the premium is on experience.
I think we'll try to take advantage of it, but, when it comes to this type of game and the guys being young, they've been playing for a whole year. They have experience now, and when they play us, they're going to play at their best.
We're pretty, I think, intact as far as we were the last game that we played. We've got the same guys back, and
And so you just got to have a lot of confidence in those guys. They're the best we got. That's how I feel about them.
And Saturday, they faced the #1 defense in the country. Florida State's allowed just 12 touchdowns all season while racking up 57 quarterback sacks. Most of those sacks come from the ends, Renard Wilson and Bull Ware, who plans to get Warfel's attention.
Instead of looking at the receivers all the time, I want to be cutting an eye at maybe me or Wilson every once in a while to maybe get his concentration off the receivers.
It's all in your heart, like wanting to get to the quarterback every play, and that's how we feel. Got to get to that quarterback, because, you know, just like a running back want to get in the end zone a million times to score a touchdown. If I get a sack, I feel like I done scored 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Renard's more of a guy that he's just going to try to attack you down the throat, down the middle. Nothing fancy. He's just going to put his blue jeans on and go to work every day.
Bullware is more, he's relentless. He plays the edges better, and he seems to have a great feel coming off of that blocker of getting there.
Last year, the Seminoles sacked Werfel 7 times, but they lost the game 35-24. Yet that was in Gainesville. Here at Doak Campbell, Florida State hasn't lost to any team in 28 straight games, not since 1991. In Tallahassee, Steve Cyphers, ESPN.
Thanks, Steve. Our college game day crew will be in Tallahassee Saturday at the special time of 11 a.m. Eastern. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit previewing the big showdown between the Gators and Seminoles at Saturday morning special time, 11 Eastern for college game day. Then at noon, flip right on over to ABC so you can see the nation's top-ranked teams squaring off. Florida State, #1 on the line Saturday noon, ABC.
Back to college hoops for a second, and as Kentucky embarks upon defending its national title, they might want to check with UCLA as for exactly how difficult that can be. A year ago, when the Bruins had that trophy, they opened their season with 2 losses in the Maui Classic. Likewise, this season, the Wildcats opened their defense with a loss against Clemson, and they hope the similarities end right there. Taking on the host team at the Great Alaska Shootout, there's Rick looking dapper. First half, the Wildcats on D. Anthony Epps, the steal off the inbound pass to Ron Mercer with the finish. Kentucky up by 11 early. Seawolves, they are the Seawolves, you know, did their best to hang tough. Chris Haney with the block. They go the other way. The dish to Burt Wallace on the business end. The Seawolves trailing by 16. That's a moral victory, I suppose. Derek Anderson, meanwhile, unstoppable along the baseline for 3, and it's good. And he liked it so much, he did the same darn thing again. Had 30 points in the game. That is a career high as Kentucky wins at 104-72. As a matter of fact, Anderson has scored a new career high in all 3 Kentucky games this season. The Wildcats advance to Saturday's championship game. The Division II Seawolves fall to 5-1. The other semifinal, Stanford taking on the College of Charleston. Late in the first half, Brevin Knight, look at the no-look pass to Tim Young for the finish and the foul. Cardinal leading by 2 at the first half. Early in the second, Knight again. Baseball pass inside to Young, hits the hook shot. Stanford opens a 7-point lead, but the Cougars are tenacious, resourceful. Off the steal, Stacey Harris. Yeah. Gets the boys fired up, even though he hangs on the rim and gets a tee. 1-point Charleston lead for Young as he picks up his 5th foul. He's out of the game. That would be a crucial point in the game because that's when Charleston took over physically. Young's a big boy. They needed him in the middle. Jermel President hits the hoop and the foul, and all the President's men execute the upset. Charleston pulling it off by 4. They connected on 8 free throws in the final 26 seconds. Tim Young led the way for the Cardinal with 22, but the 7-footer fouling out with more than 6 minutes to go. So it is Charleston that will meet Kentucky in the shootout final. And that game can be seen right here on ESPN on Saturday night. It's a midnight tip-off for the championship game. That preceded by 25th-ranked George Washington hosting Texas Tech. It's a doubleheader of hoop Saturday on the network. Still ahead on this program, the Blazers have only 1 loss at home this year, trying to keep it that way against the Warriors. And the Hokies trying to keep their big bowl game hopes alive against their cross-state rivals. That and more when we roll along.
Usually when we think about high tech, we think about Buck Rogers kind of stuff. Well, we are bringing technology literally down to earth in shoes, because everybody wears shoes. We're working on materials that don't wear out because people want to do better. People who play tennis and baseball, they're going to find that the shoes are lasting a lot longer. And DuPont's really the source of that technology, high tech, low tech. There's no such thing. It's technology. How you use that technology is what's really important.
Better things for better living.
DuPont. Good morning. This is your wake-up call. And this This is the new Norelco Reflex Action Razor. Anything closer could be too close for comfort. A blade can leave you feeling irritated. What would possess it to do that? Introducing the Norelco Reflex Action Razor. A great shave with less irritation than blades.
College basketball's best and brightest descend on Chicago for the DirecTV Grade 8. At 7:30, he's the game's premier pivot, but Tim Duncan knows he can't carry the Demon Deacs alone. He'll lead Wake against Mississippi State. At 9:30, the Cats know everyone's gunning for them, and Ron Mercer and company will look to hold off the defending Big Ten champs, Purdue. The DirecTV Grade 8, Wake Forest, Mississippi State at 7:30, Purdue, Kentucky at 9:30, Tuesday on ESPN.
Between the three of them, Fred Couples, John Daly, and Tom Watson have won a total of 49 PGA events. But that's not why this weekend's Skins game is expected to be the highest TV-rated telecast in the event's 14-year history. The reason, of course, is that Tiger Woods is playing, and people want to see the kid.
I feel excited. I've never played in the Skins game before of this magnitude, only with my buddies, and I'm looking forward to it. Every one of these guys loves to compete. Some show it, some don't, but you know, deep down inside, they're all pretty fiery.
Woods goes against defending Skins champion Fred Couples, who won it on the 5th playoff hole last year. Tom Watson won it 2 years ago. John Daly's only appearance was in '91. For the first time, it's at La Quinta. Woods making his first pro appearance in his home state. ABC has it Saturday and Sunday, 3:30 Eastern Time. Brett?
Among the things the Golden State Warriors gave thanks for on Thursday night was that God created the Nets. After giving Phoenix their first win of the year earlier this week, the Nets celebrated the gift of giving once again by offering number 4 to Golden State. Friday night, the Warriors went for their first win streak of the year, and sadly, the Nets were not available. They took on the Blazers instead. First quarter, he's not my Vitas, he's not your Vitas, he's our Vitas on the dish to Rashid as the Blazers lead early. More Rashid blowing past Joe Smith. They lead by 3 at the break. Third quarter, Latrell driving, spinning in the lane, and the jumper is good. Sprewell had 32, Warriors within 3, but Portland pulls away in the fourth. Wallace to Gary Trent, the one-time Shaq of the Mac filling the lane, and yet even more Wallace. Cliff Robinson with or without headband, without, and the follow from Wallace. He's a monster, and with the audio daily double on the follow, Blazers win at 119-93. Wallace, one of 6 Blazers in double figures. He chimed in with 20 points, 12 boards. Gary Trent, 11 of his 18 in the fourth. Portland's 10-6 mark is their best start in 6 years. The Magic and Sixers in Philly. Allen Iverson, super first half for him. Watch the feed to Jerry Stackhouse. That's what we call an oop in the business. He had 16, did Stackhouse. Iverson showing some touch as well, handling the low pass and then draining the 3 along the baseline. Had 12 points in the first half along with 8 assists. Fourth quarters we skip to. Derek Coleman with the steal, showing the faster hands after a good off season. And Philly winning with ease, and it's a 9-point margin. They never trailed in the game. Coleman led the way with 19. Iverson handing out a season-high 10 assists, though he also got benched by Johnny Davis in the fourth quarter after he committed 5 turnovers in the third. Larry?
They may be the Rodney Dangerfield of college football. We're talking now about Virginia Tech. Oh, I want to tell you, the Hokies have won 6 in a row. They have a chance to win the Big East and get an Alliance Bowl berth. But does anybody talk about the Hokies? No. Syracuse and Miami get all the pub, and they'll face off on Saturday. But on Friday, Virginia Tech against Virginia, and they were playing for the Commonwealth Cup. Nice way to start. Virginia's first play from scrimmage. Tiki Barber into the hole, explodes, and then races down the sideline. 80 yards. He became Virginia's all-time leading rusher on the day, passing Terry Kirby, but all it amounts to is a field goal and a 3-0 Virginia lead. Tech playing some tough D. Tim Sherman under assault. Person Prelo with a sack, not once, but twice. Sherman wasn't just tackled, he was getting mugged back there, knocked out of the game. Virginia up 9-7 at the half. Then Barber, early in the third quarter, whoops, loses the handle. It's a pop-up. And Tech recovers. Setting up Jim Druckenmiller to Michael Stewie. 21-yard touchdown. Tech leads 13-9 later fourth quarter. Aaron Brooks has drilled Torian Gray with the INT, and that sets up Marcus Parker. Reverse it to Sean Scales. Blockers in front, and he takes it into the end zone as Tech wins it by a final score of 26-9. Virginia Tech winning their 7th in a row as they reach the 10 victory mark for the first time ever. Victories over top 25 teams for Virginia Tech. It's 4 weeks in a row that they've done this. The Hokies need Miami to beat Syracuse on Saturday, get the Big East Alliance Bowl berth. Said Hokie center Billy Conity, "I love the Hurricanes." To the SEC for LSU and Arkansas. Rainy day. First quarter, Herb Tyler from the shotgun has all day to the throw and steps up, hits David LaFleur, 21-yard gain. That sets up 2nd and goal. And Tyler, Kevin Falk in for the touchdown. LSU up 7-0. Still in the first half. It's Tyler on the roll. Nice catch by Falk. One hand. Down the strip he goes. Inside the 40-yard line before being dragged down. 40-yard play. 2 plays later, Tyler to Larry Foster. And the defender falls down. Foster with the touchdown. And the final is 17-7. LSU, program on the rise as the Tigers gain a share of the SEC West title with Alabama, and with 9 wins, they're off to a bowl game for the 2nd straight year. The LSU defense held the Razorbacks to 81 yards in the first half and did not allow them to cross midfield for the first 44 minutes of this game. Wayne Sportscenter continues. Time for the 2-minute drill. Chris Berman looks at the unexplainable, like the comeback of Arizona quarterback Boomer Esiason. Plus, if you plan to run against Nebraska, you better go to Plan B. The Buffs learned that lesson coming up.
Report to me by 5. I mean 5.
You can kiss that promotion goodbye, Shorty.
Your accountant's on line 1. The audit's next Tuesday.
Your wife's on 2. And where's the dry cleaning?
Yeah, where's the dry cleaning?
Life getting a bit overwhelming? Try the simple thrill of an Accord Coupe from Honda.
Tomorrow at 9:30, Alexander Cool and the gang take on Texas Tech. At midnight, things heat up at the Great Alaska Shootout. Texas Tech GW at 9:30. The Great Alaska Shootout Championship at midnight. Tomorrow on ESPN.
More college hoops. Northeastern against Tark's team from Fresno State. Harold Miller, the breakaway, blocked from behind by Chris Herron, but Terry Cringe with a follow-up. Huskies down 8 at the half. The Bulldogs would focus from there. Herron with the drive. Rashawn Smith for the two-handed jam. And Fresno State, tougher time than they expected, but 87-71. The final, Dominic Young scored 23 points. 5 Bulldogs in double figures. Fresno State guard Chris Herron, you saw him there briefly in the highlights, sat out the second half. He took an accidental hit in the head, and he suffered a slight concussion in this game. Villanova and American. And Villanova, 5th-ranked team, is pushed in Puerto Rico, but they do win it. Villanova overcame a 12-point deficit in the second half for the victory. Avon Williams scored 20 points. Freshman Tim Thomas with 15. Jason Lawson cleaning up 14 points, 15 boards. Nova survives the scare. Maine against number 12 Syracuse. And the Q's, Todd Bergen, lefty, and he connects from downtown. And he's not the only one. Jason Cipolla off the screen, and he hits. And again, it's Cipolla from outside. They are making it rain from out there. Raining threes. Marius Janulis and Todd Bergen tying the school record at 12 threes. And here he is again. They could not miss from outside. The Orange men roll. 85-65. Todd Bergen leading the Q's with 18 points. A day after going 1 of 11 from downtown, the Orangemen made 13 threes against Maine. The Orange with 5 men in double figures. Evansville and Tulsa, 3rd place in the preseason NIT. The Aces running. Chris Hollander. Behind the back, John Reisinger gets the roll. Michael Ruffin. He's rough, he's tough, he's working it, and he scores. 10 points, 12 boards for Ruffin. Tulsa by 8 at the half. Then it's Amy Morales. Inside muscle. But Eric Coley, the strip and the breakaway, and he's throwing it down. As Tulsa wins 55-51, the Golden Hurricane. They scored only 4 field goals in the final 16.5 minutes, but that was good enough for the W. Michael Ruffin, 10 points, 12 rebounds. He also blocked 5 shots for Tulsa. Shea Seals leading the way with 12 points. Brett?
Now, the fact that Nebraska's starting defense hasn't given up a single rushing touchdown all year would seem to indicate that if it gets late in the game and you need to score against the Huskers, you might want to try passing. Colorado got that message, but as Jeremy Schaap tells us from Lincoln, throwing against Nebraska is not a whole lot easier than running against them.
When Arizona State shut out Nebraska on September 21st, it seemed even Bob Dole had a better shot than the Cornhuskers at winning a national title this fall. But now it's November, and despite an inspired Colorado effort, the Huskers' bid for an unprecedented 3rd straight championship is alive and fairly well.
Our players have really battled back. They've got a lot of heart, and we're pleased that we are where we are.
On a rain-swept, chilly afternoon, the Huskers limited the Buffaloes to 277 yards of total offense and 4 field goals. Nebraska wasn't much more effective with the ball, but a defensive touchdown scored by Jay Foreman provided the margin of victory.
I was just thinking to myself, I was like, hey, you got to catch this one, you know. We have to have, you know, some kind of turnaround. We have to make something happen on defense. So luckily, it was just my turn to make a big play.
The Huskers aren't used to playing their first team into the 4th quarter, but their stamina held.
I think that's the first entire game that I've ever played here at Nebraska. Even Arizona State, I had a break for a little while. But that was the first game that I've ever played, I think, every down.
We put a lot of pressure on Detmer, even though I don't know how many sacks we ended up with today, but, you know, we hit them a lot, and we hit them pretty hard.
So 36 straight victories here on this field for the Cornhuskers. A date next week with Texas in the inaugural Big 12 championship game. And their hopes are still very much alive for that 3rd straight national title. In Lincoln, Jeremy Schaap, ESPN.
Jeremy borrowing that microphone from Gene Rayburn on Match Game. We talked about how awesome the Husker defense is. Here are the numbers. Just 10 points allowed per game, only 11 touchdowns in 11 games allowed this season. Opposing quarterbacks completing just 43% of their passes, and that includes Detmer on Friday and his 32%. The holiday football free-for-all spills over into Saturday as we bring you the in-state feud between 9th-ranked Tennessee and Vanderbilt. A game that frequently in the 90s has been decided by a touchdown or less. That begins at 6 Eastern. Or if you prefer, over on the Deuce, things get started at 12:30. Mississippi State and Ole Miss both coming off of big wins. They get together in Oxford. And after that, we go to Charlotte, East Carolina, still hoping for a bowl invite as they host NC State. Still ahead on this program, the lone bright spot for the Jets amid the carnage that is their season. Chris Berman looks at Adrian Morrell. Plus the latest on Sean Jones and why he's a little more rested than he wants to be. That is next. This is SportsCenter.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your favorite shape?
What's my favorite shape? I don't know. Let me think. My favorite shape.
Square?
No.
A circle? Heart?
No.
A triangle?
A heart. Yeah, a heart's my favorite shape. What's your favorite shape?
A heart?
The Maglite flashlight, the world's finest, crafted from solid aircraft aluminum, sealed at each end with high-grade rubber O-rings, with an exclusive patented self-cleaning switch and a patented adjustable beam. The Maglite flashlight, American-made to be brighter, tougher, more dependable. The Maglite is a work of art that works. A Maglite flashlight is the brilliant gift idea for any occasion.
For years, one rotary tool set the standard. There was nothing better. There was also nothing else. But now there's a premium rotary tool, the Ryobi Multi-Tool. It shapes, cuts, sands, strips, routes, grinds, and polishes, all with more power for a lot less money. The Ryobi Multi-Tool, just one of our many premium power tools that give you pro features at an affordable price.
We certainly hope it's become part of your Monday night ritual by now. Before the game, you tune into Prime Monday on ESPN. Mike Tirico and the gang bring you lots of things from the Georgia Dome, including a live interview with Jeff George, though he won't be at the Georgia Dome. That begins at 7:30 Eastern Time Monday. Then at 9 Eastern, you can switch over to ABC for the 49ers and the Falcons. Al, Frank, Dan, and the gang bring you the action. It is Monday Night Football, and it is on ABC.
Sean Jones isn't happy, and neither is his boss, Mike Holmgren. The Packers held Jones out of last week's game against St. Louis because of an ankle injury that ended his streak of 74 straight starts. Jones thought he could have and should have played. Holmgren did not list Jones on the Packers' weekly injury report, got some heat about it from the league office. That issue, easy to understand. But in his 2-minute drill, Chris Berman takes on the unexplainable.
If Major League Baseball can resolve its labor issue, then with December approaching, we should have a handle on who's really going to the Super Bowl, shouldn't we? But we don't. We feel more like that famous uncle of Bills safety Kurt Schultz, who, by the way, was AFC Defensive Player of the Week last week. As Sergeant Schultz would say, we know nothing. Check out the NFC. Dallas is finally back in first place after their turkey win over the Skins. They've also beaten the Packers and the 49ers. So how come less than a week ago they looked pathetic against the Giants? The Eagles climbed their mountain, beating Dallas in Big D. So how come they've lost 3 straight since? Carolina is 8-4 and only its second year of existence. Only the Niners, who they beat, and the Packers have a better record in the NFC. So how come they lost to the then 0-8 Falcons? The hottest quarterback is Boomer Esiason. 1,149 yards passing the last 3 weeks, 555 yards in the fourth quarter and overtimes alone in that span. So how come a month ago he was on the Arizona scrap heap? The hottest defense is Tampa Bay's, which for 7 straight weeks has limited foes to 17 or less points. That's as good as the 1985 Super Bowl Shuffle Bears.
What the hell's going on out here?
The only thing we know, Coach, is that Denver has already clinched the playoff berth, and at 11-1, they have a record 2 better than anybody else in either conference. The Bengals have the NFL's best plus-minus differential, 17 more takeaways than turnovers. So how come they fired their head coach? And if defenses win championships, how come an 8-5 team, Washington, has the worst defense in the league coming into the week? And how come 8-4 New England and 7-5 San Diego are also at the bottom of the NFL? It would make coaches salivate at drawing up a game plan.
What we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here and try to run this play in the alley.
What was that, Coach?
Seal here and a seal here.
There's proof that the Lombardi Trophy is really up for grabs this year. Speaking of grabs, when it comes to all-time receivers, you probably wouldn't name Henry Ellard right away, and you might eventually get to Andre Reed because of all the postseasons the Bills have been in. But do you realize that the Redskins' Ellard is now 5th all-time in catches with 760, 4 away from 4th, and Reed is right on his tail in 6th with 753? They have over 100 more catches than Charlie Taylor and Raymond Berry, 200 more catches than Lance Allworth. Yes, the Jets have been a 1-11 disaster this season, but lost in it all is the great season turned in by Adrian Morrell. He's 3rd in the AFC with 1,041 yards rushing, and he does not play for a team that sits on the clock nursing a lead. The Jets have had only 3,000-yard rushers previously, 2 seasons by Freeman McNeil, 1 by a young John Riggins. Neither Matt Snell nor Emerson Boozer ran for as much as Morrell has this year. Not many are running as well as the Schwamm. Another solid week, 3-2, including the Giants. 8 over 500 for the season. All right, so I lost the Brown-Columbia game. It's time to jump back on the pack. They caught themselves in the second half at St. Louis. They're home for 3 of their last 4. They're playing a team this week that they've owned recently, the Bears. Green Bay handily on the frozen tundra. The Dolphins have never won in Oakland. Good enough for me, Miami by 4. In a pinball wizard affair, the Bengals outlast the Jags 48-45. Start spreading the news back on the Giants to keep it close at Philly. And from our way out on a limb department, Jets, Jets, to upset the Oilers. Every dog has his day, or as Joaquin the Dog Andujar would say, to describe the Jets and the overall NFL season, you can sum it up in just one word. You never know.
All right, Boomer, Chris, and the gang have NFL Countdown Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. They'll talk about what's wrong with the Eagles, what's right with Bruce Smith, and how the Jumbotron scoreboard helps the visiting team. Countdown Sunday, 11:30 Eastern. Then, after prime time, Join them. 8 Eastern time, maybe the best matchup of the whole weekend. Critical game of the AFC, the Patriots and the Chargers. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann, Mark Malone, bringing you all the action Sunday night, 8 Eastern, only on ESPN. Point Sportscenter continues. His coach says Ziggy Palffy is paid to score goals. We'll see if Ziggy delivered for the Islanders. And a special delivery for Tar Heel Antoine Jameson, delivering early and often when we come back.
This 35mm Kodak FunTime camera with flash, free. There's absolutely no purchase necessary to get this Kodak camera free from the Craftmatic Adjustable Bed Company. Just preview our beds before you buy any bed.
I hate this bed. You look so miserable in that ordinary flat bed. You need an adjustable bed. Look, Craftmatic's affordable money-saving Model 2 and 3 beds adjust to all these comfortable positions, offer optional heat and massage, yet cost 50 to 75% less than many quality flat beds. 50 to 75% less. Call to get this free catalog by mail.
Call toll-free and we'll mail you a coupon for your free Kodak camera. Plus information on the adjustable beds that cost 50 to 75% less. To get your free camera coupon, call now.
Call toll-free 1-800-822-9800. That's 1-800-822-9800. Toll-free 1-800-822-9800.
From ESPN, it's the start of a brand new season. It's the slammin' jam-packed ESPN College Basketball 96. Meet the class of 97. And check out Dick Vitale's picks to make March Madness. Follow the bouncing ball for profiles of 64 top teams and 12 superstars in the making. Scale Mount Coach Moore, score Final Four tickets, and soar above the rim with 2 tall Tims. ESPN College Basketball 96 on newsstands now.
The Islanders and the Caps. Washington has beaten them 4 times in a row in D.C. Phil Housley intercepted at the blue line by Ziggy Palffy. Watch him deke Housley to the ice and goes in uncontested. Backhander for Ziggy. 1-0 Islanders. Then in the third, Palffy again slides it past Holy the goalie. Isles up 2-0. Ziggy. Late in the third, Kelly Miller. Nice pass, goes in for the goal here. Tommy Salo says, no, you're denied. Islanders win it 2-0. Salo posting his first career shutout, 23 saves. Ziggy Palffy, both goals for the Isles. He scored in 3 straight. Isles have won 2 in a row for the second time this year. Bruins over Vancouver 7-3. The Bruins with a 4-0 lead in the first period would never look back. Joseph Stumple scored twice, so did Steve Hines. Bill Ranford, 23 saves for the Bees. It was the Ducks blanking the Blackhawks 2-0. Paul Correa with a goal and an assist. Guy Hebert made 27 saves, his 11th career shutout. He has allowed only 6 goals over his last 5 starts. And the Sabres shut down the Senators 3-0. Dominic Hasek, 31 saves, his 2nd straight shutout. Hasn't done that since 1993. Derek Platt scored twice for Buffalo. The Sabres have won 4 of 5.
More college hoops. 14th-ranked Carolina taking on Pitt. That is Ralph Willard, the coach. And this is Kevin Willard, the coach's son, on the business end of the fast break with the layup. One of the Tar Heels' 19 turnovers. Panthers by 2. Physical game. Vince Carter gets knocked on his rear end, hits the ground. Nice pick. Dean Smith concerned, but Antoine Jameson would quell his concern. I say that helps. Heels pulling away, and once again it's Jameson. The nice dish from Ed Cota in the lane. Easy finish. Jameson had 36. Tar Heels win it by 21. The 36 a career high for Antoine. That's the most points by any Carolina player in the Dean Dome since it opened in 1986. Heels avoid what would have been their first 1-2 start since 1982. Meanwhile, at the San Juan shootout in Puerto Rico, 10th-ranked Clemson knocks off Delaware. I say at the San Juan shootout in Puerto Rico, Clemson knocks off Delaware. Imagine the score, if you will. Merle Code threw in 19 for the Tigers, and 24th-ranked Minnesota takes out the host team from Puerto Rico. Gophers and Tigers meet in the title game. Still ahead on the center, Stefan Edberg makes his last stand in Sweden, but he had a hard time standing when the match was over. We'll explain that when we come back.
Flex Integral, with its pivoting head that adjusts to the contours of your face, gives you our closest, smoothest shave anytime, anywhere, fast.
Huh?
Is there a problem, officer?
Have a nice day.
Braun, designed to perform better.
It's tough being a kicker. But win or lose, I always tell my grandma to call me 1-800-COLLECT, although sometimes she needs a little reminder. 1-800-COLLECT. Save the people you call up to 44%.
Go for the gold. The new Rebel G. Get the ultimate rush.
I understand the concept. Sports news, updates, highlights whenever you want them. But why? What is this need to spoon-feed everyone everything instantly? Instant coffee, instant lotto, instant drive-through feed-me-now burger chains, instant cameras, instant credit, instant pudding. Actually, I like instant pudding, especially tapioca.
More NBA hoops, Bullets and Hawks, Dikembe Mutombo against Big George and using him like a handy wife. Hawks up 7, then Mookie Blaylock from outside. Oh, it's starting to rain. Threes, Mookie's feeling it, making it rain. Blaylock, 7 of 11 from outside. He had 25. Dikembe rejected by the rim the first time, gets it back and throws it down as the Hawks win 110-81. Mutombo, 25 points. He had 15 rebounds, 5 block shots. Mookie with 7 threes, 1 short of the Hawks team record. The Bullets' 3-game winning streak coming to a rather abrupt end. The Pacers over the Grizzlies, 104-94. The Grizz remain winless on the road, 0-8. Reggie Miller had 25, Jalen Rose 17. Rookie Eric Dampier playing big, blocked 6 shots in 18 minutes for Indy. Sharif Abdul-Rahim led the Grizz with 20. Brett?
In a sports world that allows far too many athletes to stay well beyond their prime, Stefan Edberg is going out, maybe not at the top, but certainly not far removed from it. Despite the chance to make millions of more dollars, Edberg at age 30 is calling it quits this year and going out playing Davis Cup on his native soil in Sweden, taking on France's Cedric Pioline in the Cup final. First set, Edberg serving. He loves to come to the net. Backhand volley is good. But as he lunges for the forehand volley, he sprains the ankle. He took the 3-minute allowed injury timeout to get taped. He came back, and he was not the same. Pioline smartly, not cruelly, tests the ankle with the drop shot. Edberg's motion, not what it should be. Great get by Pioline on the forehand. Edberg tries to stay tough. Serving in the far court, again serving and volleying, despite the fact that's very difficult on a bum ankle. Cannot chase the lob down. Pioline winning it in straight sets. Edberg scheduled to play the final reverse singles match on Sunday against Arno Butch. Although if Sweden wins the doubles match on Saturday and then Jonas Bjorkman wins his match on Sunday, the Swedes could win the cup without Edberg having to play on the bad ankle again. Then again, that would mean that Edberg's career is over.
If it's okay for Sugar Ray Leonard to come back, then why not Thomas Hearns? The hitman is 38 years old. Whether he can still take a hit or make one is the question at this point. Friday night, Hearns looking to turn back the clock, facing Carl Willis. Hearns fighting as a light heavyweight. And there is the hitman. Still has some movement left in those legs, and he's got a lot left in those arms, working over Carl Willis. And the hitman is in shape, I'll tell you. 38 years old, but you would not want to mess with him. And Carl Willis pays the price. Hearns wins by TKO in the 5th round. As Brett and I head for home, did you know we'll test your knowledge of the Battle of Unbeatens.
This seems like a good time to introduce the new, more responsive Volvo 850 GLT. Drive safely.
To test their latest parka, Mother Gert Boyle and son Tim head for the mountains. Columbia Sportswear, one tough mother.
Oh. You can fly on the
original import. Taste German beer at its finest. Beck's, America's favorite German beer.
Peyton and the Vols would love to make their New Year's plans early, but if it's up to Vandy, they'll be singing the blues when they duel with the Doors Saturday night in Music City. Tennessee Vanderbilt, tomorrow at 6, only on ESPN.
Earlier, we heard from Florida and Florida State on the eve of their showdown for the top ranking in the country. Both teams head into the game at 10-0.
That is correct. Did you know the last time two undefeated and untied teams met in the regular season finale? 1973, Michigan and Ohio State playing to a 10-all tie.
And that is a wrap on this edition of SportsCenter. Have a great weekend. I'm Larry Biel.
And I'm Brett Haber. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good Saturday.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.